Hey, it's Freiberger, and I'm about to show you a sample episode of a show that we do on MotorTrendOnDemand.com that's called Roadkill Extra. It shows up every single weekday. It's got stuff like outtakes from shows, behind-the-scenes stuff, tech tips, you name it. You can see them all with a free trial at MotorTrendOnDemand.com. Hey, spoiler alert! Don't watch this episode of Roadkill Extra unless you want to find out some stuff that very well could happen on Roadkill Garage coming up in the upcoming year. And I will also give you this disclaimer. Don't hold me to anything I say, because you know how I am about automotive fantasy versus the reality of my time, money, and ability to get anything accomplished. But here's the actual plan. You know that forever I have wanted to build a high horsepower Jeep of some kind. So come here. We've got the Commando. Now let's go through the fantasy process that got us to this point. So I've always wanted to have a Jeep that has a lot of horsepower, either for like sand dune running or for an unexpected drag race car, or just for driving around on the street and being a sleeper and doing big burnouts and being absolutely useless. And in that process, initially I wanted to do it with a flat fender Jeep. Do you hear those chickens? Man. Stupid. Initially, I wanted to do it with a flat fender Jeep with a blown small block Chevy, and I still think that would be really cool, but, well, let me finish. And then I wanted to do, right behind you over here, is the Jeep panel truck, but then that thing is so stock original and somewhat rare that we decided we could not molest that. And then you remember the episode of Roadkill Garage where me and Payway went to Colorado and got that Wagoneer that was going to become the Dragoneer, and then that became such a sweet cruiser. There was no way that we could hack that thing up. And then the other day we had a big meeting with all of our creative people, which is basically, you know, 4 of us, and we decided what the best Jeep would be to do, and it turns out to be the Commando. Now I know a lot of people will disagree with this because this is an ugly year Commando. The earlier Jeepsters are cooler looking, but this is a 72 and they started, or maybe it's a 73, but that's when they put this ugly bullnose front end on it with a bigger grille that sort of mimics a full-size Blazer or something, but they made the whole front end longer for an inline 6, so there's a whole bunch more real estate under here, if I can figure out how to open the hood, for doing a V8 swap. And now I'm going to reveal what we actually plan to do. We hope to turn this into the Clevo Commando. Remember the 351 Cleveland that we took out of Dulcich's 67 Cougar? Well, we're gonna freshen that thing up, maybe throw on some trick flow heads and intake and stuff, and throw it in the Commando because it's got no drivetrain in it at all. And we're doing that basically because we have the Commando and we have the engine and we get to call it the Clevo Commando, which is kind of cool. And so that's the plan, but unfortunately to do it, it's gonna be a while. We're planning on having the episode air near the end of the year because we have to freshen up the Clevo. We have to figure out what transmission will go behind it, and you know that'll be a Gear Star because, you know, they're like our official transmission company and our favorite one. And I'm just sort of pausing and thinking out loud, trying to decide if we'll end up putting like a 700 R4 or something adapted to the Cleveland instead of using a Ford transmission, and we probably will. And then I have to decide what to do for a transfer case that isn't going to blow up. I think the original Dana 20 in this thing will probably shatter like glass if we make any real horsepower. And the same is true with the axles in this thing. They're just going to... So it's a major project, and I'm gonna try not to spend a fortune on it. We might get a donor vehicle so that we can get the trans and transfer case and maybe the axles and stuff like that. And so that's the plan. Now, when I air this Roadkill Extra, I am gonna try to remember on the same day to go on social media and remind you that the Extra is live, put up a picture of this thing and maybe some of the other Jeeps, and just get reader feedback. I say reader all the time because I used to be a magazine editor. Get viewer feedback on what Jeep you would actually like to see. This is what our team voted on, but if there's overwhelming demand for the flat fender or the panel truck or the Wagoneer instead, maybe we can shift it that direction. Because if you absolutely hate the Commando, then why would we actually do it? However, I saw an awesome quote from Henry Ford that was on Instagram this morning on Von Gitten's account. And the quote was, "If I'd asked the people what they wanted, they would have told me faster horses." So think about that for a minute. And then answer the question on social media. And I do read almost all of them. I try really hard to do that, and I appreciate all the interaction that we have with our fans. And hopefully you'll tell me that the Commando is a good thing to do. All right? Thanks a lot. If you need more Roadkill Extra, go sign up right now.